now that we're done with the website, let me show you a part of the code. So this is like the GitHub. At the top level, we have so many keys and files and folders. So I can start with the .env file because honestly that's one of the most important. So .env is the environment variables file, like API keys and database URLs. Um, Although we should never really commit to Git, but I still uploaded it here anyways because I just wanted to show what I did here. So I chose the port 5000 MongoDB as my database just because that I think is recommended. Then you have the different configuration, and then for email service, because my AI agent will be giving out API keys, like as I showed in this video. When you upload agent, it gives you those API keys. Once you have selected all of this, it will basically give you the API keys or send it to your email. And so here I used Gmail as my email configuration or email service. There were different options, AWS, Amazon Web Services, and other options, but I think Gmail is the fastest and easiest, and I think it's free. So, and then for payment processing, I'm using Stripe just because it's most widely available. Cloud storage, definitely AWS, just because it's very beneficial, cheaper, easier, and I think a lot of it is free, and it gives it in its free tier. It has a lot of options, and then you have the security, just the core origin, defining local host. And then we can go to, you have the README file. This is just the front page of Aurora. Then you have the package JSON. You have the so I can start with the Babel. Most of it has lists of dependencies and scripts. So npm run dev, npm run build. The log file here, that ensures consistent installs across all the machines in here. And then you have the .git ignore. So this basically specifies all the files and folders that the GitHub should ignore. For example, the node modules, the .env, all of that in here. And then README again, it's just like a all the instructions on how to run, install, test the app, all of that. I can show you here, but this is just like the little steps that one should follow. Index.html, I can go to this. It's mostly like a single page entry point where it contains all the reacts which mounts to the app, all the names, and then this is like the perfume of the system. And then if I go to config files again, config files again, babel.config.json, or this. So for babel.config.json, which is here, this is basically a compiler setting, honestly, for JavaScript and TypeScript. Actually, initially my project was in TypeScript, and then I had to convert everything to JavaScript, and so this acts like a bridge between the two. So yeah, and then tailwind.config, again, that this was actually the initial file. It's basically a Tailwind CSS setup. You have the config, you have the linting rules to keep the code style consistent, and then you have the static assets, public. So the public folder here, it basically holds like a static files which is served as this. So you have the favicon.ico. It's just like holds any static images that I will reference directly in my HTML file. So there is no processing by Webpack or White. They just get copied into the build. And then so yeah, and then if I go to the backend, I'd love to show the use cases that I've used. And if I go to routes, say car routes, so these are the different use cases: the get, the post, for add to cart, the put for the router, delete. This was just to like remove the cart if I want to remove an item from the cart. Or then there's one delete for removal of one item from the cart, and there's one delete for to clear the entire cart. So this is that. These are all the routes and all the use cases. So I'll go to the backend and then routes again. Wish list. Again, I actually wanted to add a wish list to my thing. You know, when you see in Amazon and all, they have like a wish list or a save list and then your cart. So wish list is a place where you can save for later. So the same thing for all the same routes for wish list. You know, get, post, delete. Just so if the user wants to transfer something from their wish list that they save for later to their actual cart, they can do it from here. So this is for that. And so this was routes. Let's go to backend again. If I go to controllers, you have the cart controller. This is basically how the cart is going to work. So if user throw found not error, again, all of this basically helps, or if you look at this, calculate total. So the number of items that I add to my cart, it basically sums up. So you see the sum, and then you see the little assignment operator here. It basically sums up whatever is available. It actually sums up everything, all the items that are available in the cart, and then it has to display the total, and then it has to return the total. If you want to add item from the cart, this is that. So for every item that is there, that is available, and what are the items here? Basically AI bots. Each AI bot will have a product ID, or maybe you can just call it ID, and the cart will be able to recognize a product with the ID that is reference to it. Just gets easier when I store these in the MongoDB. That's why I decided to go with the ID route, because in MongoDB, when I have to reference, it's easier in that table. It gets easier to reference and find that particular field in there. And so it verifies product if it exists. Yes, you cannot buy anything if there is nothing in there. And then you have the product stock. If there is not enough stock available, that really won't happen in here. But there are times when the server is down, or when the developer is not able to ship it at the right time, or there is some problem with the product. That is when it says not enough stock available, which basically means it's not available. So that is mostly remove item from the cart if a user wants to remove it, or just clear cart. This is basically code for that. And then this was backend. Let me actually, routes I went through. Utils. So this is just the errors in here. If there is any error, so when a user wants something, the system should return something. That is my goal. This screen just shouldn't go blank and leaving the user stranded. So in here you have the app error, you have the status code. It just checks if the product is available, if everything is operational. In the system class not found again, or a bad request, it has to return something, either a 404 message or a 400 message, but it has to return something. All of these are just error messages based on what the problem is, just so the user knows that there is something going on. And the system actually work towards it, and it's not just so the user is just not like surprised as to what is going on. So this is just to like return something rather than returning a blank screen. And that actually is backend pretty much. And that is it. Thank you so much. This is the README file actually. And this is like a little preview of what it looks like. I added like a clone repository just so people whoever wants it can look at it, if the user wants to look at it, if the developer wants to make changes to it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you very much.